Welcome to Wednesday Web Chat. This is Carl Lewis, your host from Vision 33. My guest this week is a good friend of mine from the UK, Tim Guest.
Welcome, everybody. Thank you, Carl. So what we're going to talk about is basically how your business can survive the current coronavirus pandemic that is really ripping into the world. We've got a couple of statistics, not to be a doom monger, but I think we all know how hard this has hit our economies. The Nikkei, the Dow, the FTSE, everything crashed completely. In the UK, we have huge job loss claims, and I did a search on your US job loss claims as well, and this really shocked me to look at the figures. This is the 27th of April, to look at how many new unemployment claims were being placed in the US this year already. If we look at that in numbers, that's 26 million people are claiming that they're now unemployed in just 5 weeks. These are unprecedented times that we're living in. But this is a quote that I like from lawyer and crisis manager Judy Smith. Some of you may have heard of her before. There's always an opportunity with crisis. It just forces an individual to look inside themselves. It also forces a company to re-examine its policies and practices. And that's what we're going to look at today. There's another quote by Charles Darwin that, again, I've been using this quote for years now, even before this kind of crisis took hold. It's not the strongest of the species that survives, nor the most intelligent. It's the one that's most adaptable to change. You can be sure that there's your competitors out there. I know companies in my industry that they're kind of battening down the hatches, burying their head in the sand, hoping that things will be all right. Well, guess what? Things are going to change. Things are going to be different. So here's a bit about me. This is me, Tim Guest. Nice picture of me here. I'm the ex-managing director of a business-to-business distribution company called Zodale, based in the UK. We import valves and actuators. We sell to breweries, particularly craft breweries. I'm a big fan of craft beer myself. Oil and gas, water, any industry that requires flow control. I exited from that company in January this year, which was very well timed. It wasn't planned. I am still non-executive director, and I'm still actively involved with the company. I was called in on a sort of an emergency basis to help everyone work remotely so they can get access to their SAP Business One system remotely. I am a board member at the UK and Ireland SAP user group. I used to run the Business One stream of the user group for 5 years. Running the conferences, getting the speakers. I was then asked to join the board as a director representing the SME community. So I help people with the by design products and the Business One product as well. I'm now a full-time business strategy consultant. So I kind of gone from being working for a company, working as an end user of SAP, to doing more strategy, more business consulting, more business coaching. Not the best time to launch a new company, which kind of builds its values on relationship building from face to face. But hey, this is where we are. This is what we have to live with. Chartered director, so I have a qualification that's an MBA level qualification in running companies from the Institute of Directors. SAP Business One super user. I still keep my hand in with SAP. I still enjoy writing SQL queries. I was just talking to Carl earlier on about Crystal reports, particularly Crystal for HANA as well. It still really interests me. And in my spare time, again, when we could meet up with students, I was a student mentor. I firmly believe in giving back to the community. So I work with a local academy, working with 16 to 18-year-olds, particularly disadvantaged kids, helping them with career advice, CV writing, interview skills, that sort of thing. So that's me. Now, what are we going to look at this afternoon? I say this afternoon, it's 4:30 over here. What are we going to look at today in this short podcast? Risk identification. There's many risks that affect our businesses on a daily basis, but particularly now we're in this crisis situation. There's a lot more risks. So we're going to look at how to identify what risks could affect your business. What we're then going to look at doing is how you can manage those risks to minimize the impact of the risks to your business. We'll then look at how to identify new opportunities, because when we come out of the current situation, we are going to be in different times. People will be doing business differently. Carl and I were talking earlier on, again, trade shows. It might be the end of trade shows, or trade shows might be very, very different. So if you get a lot of your business from trade shows, you might have to change the way you work. If your product lines are not relevant anymore, you might have to change what product lines you sell, change your service offering. So we're then going to look at how to manage those opportunities once you've identified them. We'll then look at your employees and how to engage with employees and get them on board with what's happening, with how to manage the risks and also how to manage the opportunities. So it's not just you doing it on your own as a business leader, you've got your team who are helping you to move the ship forward. And then we'll look at some next steps that you can take as well. So risks to your business. There's so many risks at the moment, and this was me when I was a business owner. Again, even without a pandemic, as a business owner, you do have sleepless nights. You think to yourself, what if all my staff get sick? What if I can't pay my tax bill that's coming through next month? What if I can't pay my staff? That's even worse. What if my suppliers stop shipping? Then I get no stock and I can't fulfill my orders. What if my biggest customer goes bust and doesn't pay that bill that they owe me? What if? And these thoughts are going around in your head. And if, like me, you do worry about these thoughts, they're worse at night time, and you can have all these things going around in your head, but it doesn't help you actually get these into any manageable order. So what we need to do is to, first of all, is to identify the different risks that there are and what they're going to do to your business. So what I would suggest you do is to do a brainstorm exercise with your team by Zoom, by Skype, Microsoft Teams, whatever you want, and ask everybody to talk through what risks you think you can see to the business. So we can look at things like if you're heavily reliant on one supplier. My business, the one I've just left, we relied heavily on a big Italian manufacturing company. Now they shut down for 3 weeks. Ironically, 3 months before, my insurance company were in saying, do you want insurance against one of your suppliers shutting down? I said, no, that'll never happen. They're Emerson. They're a huge global corporation. But guess what? I wish I'd taken that insurance, because they shut down for 3 weeks. So a supplier shutting down is a risk. So sit down with your team via online media and just work out and write a list of all the different risks that you think could impact your business. Post-it notes. I'm a big fan of post-it notes. If you're a business owner or business leader, you collate that list of risks and write them all individually onto a post-it note. So you may have 10, 15, 20, you might have 50, depending on how big you've gone. What you need to do then is to use a very simple matrix to score these risks. And you can use a matrix like the one on the right, which is a 9-box matrix. So the impact it's going to have to your business versus the probability of it happening. You can use 9-box, 6-box, or even 4. I like to use 4 because it's nice and simple. But what you're going to do is you're going to sit down. You might have your team online as well and discuss with your team where on the chart these are going to go. Get yourself a massive A1 piece of paper and stick it on the wall. Again, I've got one in the room I'm working from now. You can't see it, but I have got one. And you're going to stick them as to the impact it's going to have on the business versus the probability of that risk actually happening. And because we're not face-to-face and this isn't a video call, I'm going to show you a short video of how to use the risk management matrix. So let me click this link.
Hello. This is the first of 2 videos I've recorded to complement the blog I've written on how you can ensure your business survives the current virus outbreak. What we're going to do is look at how to use this 4-square matrix. The first one that we're doing is on scoring your risks. So you've probably sat down with your team, probably remotely via Zoom or something, and identified as many risks, as many events possible that could have an impact on your business. Write each one onto a post-it note. Then we're going to use this simple matrix to score them. So the first risk that you're going to identify is going to have a very, very high impact on the business, huge impact on the business, but it's almost never likely to happen. It's worth scoring anyway. That will be stuck up there. The next risk that you identify is going to have a devastating effect on your business, really high impact, and it's almost definitely going to happen. So this is a really important risk to worry about. So probability high, impact high. The next theoretical risk that we're going to stick on the graph is something that is going to have a very low impact on your business. Not really going to make that much difference at all, but it definitely is going to happen. So on the impact would be low and the probability would be high. So we just use 3 extremes here just to show you how to use the matrix. You'll probably have 10, 15, maybe or more risks or threats to your business. And once you've stuck them on this matrix, it really does help you with how to give them scores when you drop them into that Excel sheet that I've shown you. Thank you.
So that's just showing you how to use the matrix. And when I've done this with teams before, the more you can get them there, the better. You sometimes have, 20 or 30. What you can also do is if some of the risks are linked together, you can combine the post-it notes onto the one and sort of amalgamate the risk. So you know what risks are going to impact your business. What you need to do now is to record these and work out how you can manage them. So if these risks actually happen, what the impact to your business is going to be minimized. So we look at risk management now. What you need to do is get yourself an Excel sheet or similar software if you use it, and get yourself, it's a very simple sheet. You need to come up with a number of columns. So risk would be the first column, the impact it's going to have on your business, the likelihood or the probability of that risk actually happening, and the total score. The total is obviously the multiplication of impact versus the likelihood. So let's say you had a risk that you were scoring 10 and you knew it's definitely going to happen. That would be 10, 10. So that would be 100. That would be a really, really serious risk to monitor. I just used a very hypothetical one in here, zombie apocalypse, probably never going to happen, but it would have a big impact on the business. You stick a column in here with your action, which is basically what are you going to do? What are you going to do to monitor this risk and mitigate against the risk if it actually does happen? If you're a business that employs people, if you have a management team, you would find it very useful to stick an owner in here, someone who can own the risk. Because as a business leader, it's very easy to take all these risks onto your own shoulders. But if you can delegate a risk to someone and say, Andrew, your job is to monitor our suppliers closely, keep checking in with them. If there's any sign that suppliers are going to close down, come and talk to me, come and talk to management team, and then we can put a plan in place for how we mitigate against that risk. When you've got all of your risks into one document, you'll be able to sleep better at night because everything will be in the one place. You'll be able to monitor them and check in on them. And this can be a living document. As the situation changes, you might want to change the scores in some of these columns. You might want to change who owns a risk. You might want to change what action you're going to take to mitigate against that risk. So now you're sure you've got every single risk written down. You can be sure that you have got a plan in place to mitigate against those risks, to minimize the impact it's going to have on your business. But we need to think of the future because at some point we are going to get back to normality. Normality may not be what you and I remember it 6-8 weeks ago, but we are going to get back to almost business as usual. The businesses that are going to do really well are the businesses that have used this time to think about what they do and plan for the future. Again, I think I said at the beginning of this call, I know plenty of companies over here that have just stopped trading. They've shut up their shop. They're still paying their business rates. They're still paying everything else. They put all their staff onto what we call furlough, where the government are paying 80% of their wages, and they're doing nothing, hoping that when it's over, they can come back and they can carry on as normal. That might work, but it might not. If you spend this time planning for the future, even if things do go back to normal, you're going to be a leaner business and you're going to be a better prepared business and you're going to make more money than your competitors. So the next model we're going to show you is how to identify and manage some new opportunities that might come your way. So first of all, we want to identify new opportunities. Very simple, same as before. Get your team on a group call. You might want to brief them before. Tell your team what you're doing. Tell them that you're going to have this idea session. Tell them to be as wacky as they can about new products, new services, new ideas, anything that your company can do to make more money, save money, offer a better service to your customers, or do something different to your competition. Get on that call with your team, and guess what? Get out your post-it notes again. Once you've all talked about your ideas, why the ideas are good, why some are bad, why some may or may not work, get yourself a really big list of post-it notes and write each individual idea onto a post-it note. Get creative. As I said before, no idea is a bad idea, and in situations like this, some of the craziest ideas can actually turn out to be the best ideas because they're different, they're innovative. Use the matrix. So if you want to use a 4-square matrix like I showed in my video before, or if you want to use a 6 or a 9 matrix, it really does not matter. What you want to do is to stick that matrix on the wall, get your management team on the call, and talk amongst each other how easy it is going to be to implement this idea versus the impact it's going to have on the business, because you'll need your team's input on that. And again, because it's not a face-to-face demo, I have a very short video just showing you how to use the opportunity matrix management video.
Hello, this is the second of 2 videos to complement my blog that I've written on how your business can survive the current virus outbreak. You can see we've got the same 4-square matrix. I'm saving paper here, so it's rather than getting a new sheet. This is looking at the new opportunities or the new products or services that your company could diversify into and could start offering. So you've had a team meeting, probably remotely given the current situations, and you've got a load of ideas written down on post-it notes that you think you might be able to do. You want to start scoring these so that you can start focusing on the ones that are easy to do and going to give you the most value to the business. So this is the 4-square matrix. This is the impact it's going to have on your business. So how much money it's going to have, how many customers it's going to bring you, how much money is it going to save, for example. And this is the ease of implementation. So how easy is it to actually do that? So the first idea we're going to score is going to have a massive impact on your company's cash flow, but it's going to be very, very difficult to do, particularly in the current time for remote work and everything else. So we're going to stick that up here. So high impact, very difficult to do. The next idea that we're going to stick on, if you can imagine, it's going to have a really big impact on your business. It's going to help make you loads of money or save you loads of money or find you loads of new customers. And it's going to be really, really easy to do. So stick that one up here. The next idea we're going to have a look at is going to have a really low impact on the business, but it's going to be very, very easy to do. So it might be something as simple as changing the days that someone works or cutting someone's hours or something like that. So it's very easy to do, but it's not going to have a huge impact on the business. So we would stick that down here. Low impact, very easy to do. Again, the same with the risk model. We've used 3 extremes here. You probably have 10, 12, 15 or more ideas on here. And it's a really nice visual way to look at these ideas. What you can then do is you can then start to drop them into Excel and give each one a score so you know which ones you and your team can focus on first. Thank you.
So that, again, very simple. The same process that you use for risk management, you can now use for identifying your opportunities and managing them, and to help you drop them into the next step, which, you guessed it, Excel. Very easy to use. You've got your feet on the wall. Your team have helped you to prioritize your different opportunities or ideas. You now need to open up Excel. So the first column is the idea, or the solution or the opportunity, whatever you want to call it. The next column is the impact it's going to have on your business. How much money is it going to make you? How much money is it going to save you? How many new customers is it going to get you? All those sorts of things. then it's how easy is it to do this? So is it going to be a simple thing you can do, or is it going to be really, really hard, technologically hard, people hard, whatever else? Same as we used on the previous sheet, the total is the ease times by the impact. You then get a nice score of what's going to give you the biggest impact to your business and is going to be the easiest to do. Because some people might come up with some fantastic ideas, but you say, you know what, yeah, that's a brilliant idea. We probably need a year to do that. That's not very easy. If someone comes up with an idea that's going to get you, an extra 20% on your bottom line, and it's really, really simple to do, wow, brilliant. That's going to be 100. That goes top of the list. Put an action in there. So what are you going to do about that to make sure that the opportunity gets realized? And stick an owner in there as well. Again, as a business leader, you may want to take all these on yourself, but it's better to delegate these to some of your team members and give them tasks to do. And particularly in these difficult times as well, it's something for them to be optimistic about rather than just sitting at home worrying about getting from one day to the next. So you're now going to have 10, 15, 20, or even more new ideas you can have for your business. And this doesn't have to just relate to this current COVID situation. This opportunity sheet can be a living document that can actually grow with your company over the next year, 2 or 3 years. Now we're going to look at the next steps. So you've identified all the risks that could hurt your business. You've identified loads of really cool things that you can do and stick them into an order of what you're going to do about them and which ones are going to affect your business the best. Let's look at what we're going to do next. Now we've got those. Communicate. If, like us over here and most businesses around the world, you have an awful lot of your staff, if not all your staff, working remotely, you need to communicate. Communication is important, regardless of whether you're all working in the same office from 9 to 5 or whether you're all working from home 9 to 5. It's more important now that we're in these difficult times when you've got people isolated, trying to work from home. I was joking with Carl earlier that my wife and I are both trying to work from home. We're trying to homeschool our kids, one's 7, one's 4. It's very, very difficult. So communication with your team is key. Communicate these ideas to them. If you use Microsoft Teams, publish both of the lists, the risk management list and the opportunities list, publish it in Teams so people can see it, or any shared area. As I've just mentioned there, share the document with people, email it to people, whether you've got an intranet, whatever else. It's just important that people see what's happening. It also helps to keep staff morale up so they think, because if your staff are working at home, it's easy for them to get into a negative mindset. We're not going to survive this. The company's not going to make any money. I'm going to lose my job. Whereas if you're sharing these ideas with them, hey, these are our risks. They're not that bad. We got them under control. And guess what? We found a bunch of new ideas and stuff that we're going to do to make us come out of this. Your staff are going to feel a lot more positive. Monitor and check in with your team. Now, this is a good idea in any situation, but when you've got guys working from home, it's important that you see how they're doing. You might have people. I know people who are 40 years old. They have no wife. They have no children. They're loving this because they're sitting at home. They have no stress. They haven't got the stress of business travel, and they're really enjoying working from home, and they're thriving. You've got other people who've got 2 or 3 or 4 children who are running around whilst they're trying to hold down a job. It's important that you check in with your team, check out how they're doing, check out how they're feeling, check out their mental health, how their workload is for them, and also get their ideas on some of these opportunities and risks that you published as well. So, depending on how many people we had on the call, I wasn't sure whether this was a live call with a question I was going to ask around what are your remote working challenges. Carl, have you got any remote working challenges you'd like to share with people?
Well, I would say that the biggest challenge, of course, we've got how many people in my house? Let's see, 5 people in the house, and it's not a small place, but it's not a big place. And just, there's a lot of activity going around. So at any moment during any meeting that I'm conducting, it's entirely possible that some little guy will break into the room with the news of the moment and and want to say hello. But I would just say that I just think, we're so used to the human interaction, with people face to face. I used to talk about management by walking around, and I could check in with people and how are they doing, and it just that human element. I think I miss that more than you know uh, I would have had this not have occurred, for sure.
Yeah.
Even though I've been working from home for years, I still have that interaction with people that I miss. That's the
Yeah.
biggest challenge for me.
I think that's right. And when I was running Zodale, I would make a point of walking the floor, go and have a chat with the warehouse boys, walk around the warehouse, see what's coming in, and have a chat with people. And you can gauge how things are going. If something's not right, you can deal with it because you get that human interaction. But again, it's very, very difficult to do when you're working remotely. And I totally get the children walking in. One of my friends said to me that a good trick to do was to go to a room and stick some sort of grease or oil onto the outside of the door handle so that they can't open it and they can't get in.
That
I,
might work.
I haven't I haven't tried that myself yet, but it might work.
Yeah, I think one of the other things that a lot of people are missing, Tim, is travel. Some of us who traveled a lot, we probably bemoaned the fact that we traveled so much. But I can tell you that even though I cut my personal travel down to a handful of trips a year as opposed to 20 or so that I used to do, um, I'm really missing those five, um, because it was an opportunity for me when I went out into the field. I could check in with one of our offices and
Yeah,
check in with the staff in that location, take some people out for dinner, and
yeah,
those
yeah.
sort I'm definitely, recognizing what a privilege that is, and looking forward to getting back to it as soon as
I
possible.
know. And another thing with the travel, because again, I was always rushing for trains or planes and making schedules, and I used to find it slightly stressful when I was doing it. But what I miss about it is the kind of thinking time. When you're
Mhm.
on a train journey for 3 hours, you have no interruptions because the cell phone doesn't work. You might be on your laptop, but you get some time on your own. When you're in that airport lounge for an hour waiting for the plane, or you're on the plane, it's just time alone, and I do kind of miss that. It's in a strange sort of way. So yeah, hopefully we will get back to some sort of normality soon.
Absolutely, I'm sure we will.
So working from home and winning, this is something that I wanted to share with your members for free, Carl. We said to check in with your staff. Sometimes people aren't always honest. If an MD rings an accounts clerk, for example, they may not get the truth on the phone. So there's a very useful tool that I can send to you, Carl, and you can send out to your members. It's by a company called Engagement Multiplier, and it's how to help your team thrive in the new normal. It's a 10-question survey, which is anonymous. You set it up, you stick all your team's email addresses and the names in there, and it will ask some questions like, what area of the business are you most worried about now you're working from home? There's questions and insights that you can get from this as an employer that will really, really help you. The employees can also write in comments as well, which are anonymous comments. So if the employees are really struggling with something, but they feel afraid to tell the boss that they're struggling with something, that they can stick that in there as well on the employee feedback as well. And this is a free tool that Engagement Multiplier have offered to people. So I'm happy to share that link with you, Carl, and then you can then share it
Thank
with
you.
some of your members as well.
Yep, happy to do that.
And then we do move on to the last slide, which is this is me. There's some contact details on here. If you're going to share the presentation, feel free to link in with me. Anyone who's watching this, I'll be happy to have a chat with you online. And Carl, thank you very much for having me as well. I've enjoyed it.
You're very welcome, Tim. It was, of course, the whole situation with COVID, which kind of prompted you to write this blog in the first place, I'm sure. But this advice, these little call them tricks of the trade here that you're sharing, these will work anytime, right?
They would do. You're right. Yeah, yeah.
I've been a business owner twice, and I was not good at it. And one of the reasons that I knew I wasn't cut out for it is because I couldn't sleep at night.
Yeah.
And so, but these sorts of tools would have been a great help to me during those days, because you're right. If you just sort of write it down and have everything on a list, it means you're less likely to get hit from something that you don't know about. And that
That's
was
right.
always
Yeah.
my biggest concern. What surprise is coming tomorrow?
Yeah, yeah, and you know what, had people of because I mean this is a tool that people do use in normal times. Someone may have written a risk down there. Global pandemic shuts the world down. You would have given that a 0.01% chance of happening, and guess what? It has happened. So,
Exactly. Yeah, it's
yeah,
you can't predict everything for sure.
no, you can't. No.
Well, my friend, I'll let you go. I know it's the end of your day, and we thank everyone for being a part of Wednesday Web Chat, and we'll see you again on the next edition of Wednesday Web Chat.
Cheers. Thanks. Bye.